Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on Sam's Crafty Castle. So today I'm super excited to show you off this new wreath builder from Gina Designs. It is the large size wreath builder. So it does wreaths in 5 3/4, 5 1/4, and 4 3/4 sized wreaths. And it's a lot of fun because you can make really cool 5x7 cards, which I feel like are becoming a bit of a trend. So the first thing you do is you line up your paper in the wreath builder, and it's best to always start with your corner in the left hand corner of the template. That's what I've always found is easiest. And this is actually the third time what you're watching that I had done this because it took me a while to figure out exactly what I wanted. There are a lot of different planning steps you can take in your wreath builder, and usually when I do wreath builder stuff, I don't do any of that. I go, oh, this stamp would make a pretty wreath, and then I figure it out. So what I'm trying to do today is actually make more of an oval shape because I have a really, really big greeting from Gina K's Thank You greeting set that I want to put in the middle of my wreath, essentially. So I ended up not actually being able to put it in the middle, but it still looks really cool in the end, you'll see. So basically, my technique for doing this is to still go through all the motions of the wreath builder, go through all the turns, and then figure out where does the stamp fall. So it does come with this star template thing that you can use to help you plan out. It doesn't work for me. My brain just, I know how to use it, but my brain just doesn't process it quite right, and I wasn't going for a circle here, so that wasn't super helpful this time, but that is also really helpful. I highly recommend you watch Jennifer's video on that. It's one of her large wreath builder videos that she did. She did 2 of them, and that's really helpful if you think you want to use the planning thing. It just doesn't work for me, which is fine. No big deal. I just don't use it, and I do it my own way, which is this, trial and error. So yeah, basically that's what I do. I just turn it through until I get to where I want. So now here I'm saying, okay, now it's going to start turning into a circle, and I don't want it to be a circle, but now I'm back at where I started. So I'm kind of like, okay, I have to figure out how to fill in these little gappy bits here. So I figured out I could get one more, but then that's the last, because I just missed that turn, I think. And then that's the last one I can get. So I end up with these 2 gaps in my wreath, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, now what do I do? So you can see me here figuring out, can I fill those in, which I don't figure out right away, but eventually I realize I can just go back and line up my wreath builder and I can get those 2. If I take the stamp off, put the stamp in the spot where I need to fill in, then I can turn it in the wreath builder and it'll work, which you'll see me figure out later, and I'll talk to you again. So now, and that is the Grateful Greenery stamp set from Gina K Designs, and it is the her Sandy Beach ink. That's what that is. So then I am going to move on to my next piece of greenery, which this is fall, so I went with brown instead of green, but you could obviously use any color that you want. That's the fun of card making. I almost want to make a pink one now, because I just was thinking you could totally make a pink one, and I almost want to do that now. I think that's going to happen at some point. So this is Tim Holtz Distress Ink Tea Dye is the color, and another stamp from the Grateful Greenery stamp set. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I line up the corner in the left-hand corner of the paper and the left-hand corner of the wreath builder. And I stamp the first one and figure out where I want it to go. And then I turn it to the next position on the wreath builder. And I stamp again. And that's it. And I do most of this color. I do stamp twice because Tim Holtz Distressing can be fussy when it stamps, so it kind of tends to work a little better if you can do it twice. And plus, also, this is a brand new stamp set, and new stamp sets tend to take a little bit of time to warm up, if you will, and work nicely. So a lot of times when you have a brand new stamp set, and this is not a brand new stamp set, but I haven't used it before is what I'm trying to say. So then again, you see here now I figured out, okay, we're going to go in the circle, but because I have to do this, I'm going to go through every round and see where that stamp would fall and if that's where I want it. Also, I'll admit, in between the first part and this part, I forgot how to do this, which is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I forgot how I managed to get the oval to go around the first time, and it took me a little while to figure out what I did because I couldn't figure it out. But I got there eventually. It's all good. So what I needed to do that I didn't do was flip the paper over and go the other way. But I'll figure that out. Just give me a minute. I will get there. I will. I promise. So I did want to share a few other sort of my wreath builder tips in this video. So I think I will go ahead and do that now while I finish up this color. My biggest wreath builder tip. I have one wreath builder tip. And it's my only real tip for a wreath builder, but it may not work for you, but it works really well for me. I never really plan my wreaths, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. You can see here, like, I'm just trying to figure it out as I go along. It's not fun for me if I'm looking for something specific. Now, like this time, I kind of knew where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted the oval thing because I knew I wanted to put this big pretty greeting in the middle of it. And so I kind of, this was probably more planning. There we go. See, I figured it out. I got myself back on track with where I needed to be. I also think I put my stamp in a weird place, which sometimes doesn't help. But it all works out in the end, I promise. It comes out really, really good in the end. So, but yeah, I don't plan my wreaths. I do this a lot where it's like I will put a stamp down where I think I want it on a wreath, and I will just go around in the circle and try to visualize it, and I have to go through the motions of actually like fake stamping it to see what it's going to look like, and if I like it, and if I don't, then I do something different. Sometimes I don't even fake it. Sometimes I go through it and I actually ink it up and I stamp it and I go, oh, that didn't work the way I wanted to, and I just throw it out and I start over. To me, that's the easiest way to do a wreath builder, is to try to not plan it too much, I guess. Or I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I don't really think about them much. I just kind of sit down and do them, and it makes it a lot more fun for me. I know that's not fun for everyone, and like you have the cool little star planny thing that comes with the wreath builder, or the original wreath builder now, to use if you'd rather plan it out. But that, like, I do that and it doesn't help me at all. I've tried a few times and it just doesn't work for me. This works much better, just trying to figure it out as I go and see if things are landing where I want them to land. And not every wreath comes out. I tried to make a Christmas wreath a couple months ago. Yeah, I was going to do a Christmas in July video. Ended up doing that embossing powder video instead. And I was going to make a Christmas wreath with some reindeer, like jumping around, like reindeer game kind of thing. And it came out really, really bad. So they don't all come out lovely. But I think this is the best way to do it. And it's the way that works for me. But, you know, a lot of people have a really good luck with that little planny thing. I usually don't. But it's all what works for you. So I had thought about introducing a little bit more of a flower situation in here. But this is where I figured out. I was like, oh, wait, I can go back to that first stamp and I can just like put it where I want it to stamp. And so it works out because they're exactly opposite each other, that when I stamp that like so and then I flip it over, it's going to fill in the exact spot. So it does look a little bit funky because now it's stamped over the tea dye layer, if you will. See, I'm like, yeah, see, just adjust it and figure it out. And it was such an easy fix, and I don't know why I didn't think of that in the first place, but it does sort of defeat the wreath builder purpose, I guess, because you can't go straight around, if you will. But at the same time, it also works just fine, because you only have to move it twice. You only have to do 2 extra little stampy stamps, and it doesn't take that much time. So that's kind of how I ended up doing the oval thing. So you kind of do half, and then you do the other half, and then you can fill in whatever piece is missing. Now this time too, I was also using pretty big stamps. If you were doing a smaller wreath builder, that might not work so well for you. I also wanted to say that this is obviously not a square piece of paper, because this would be designed to work with the 5. I cut this to work with the 5 3/4 wreath builder, the really, really big one. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Because I was trying to make a 5x7 card, and I don't know why I felt like I needed to go right for the biggest size when I probably should have gone for the like 5 1/4 size or something. I could have gone smaller because I ended up cutting it down anyway, but I didn't. I just went for the big one right off the bat. So this paper is actually cut to 5 3/4 by 7, and basically that just, you can kind of see that it hangs out the corner of my Misty, but that doesn't hurt anything. So now we've moved on to, this is the final bit of our wreath, and this is Gina K Designs Faded Brick Ink in the same stamp set, and this one will go the best because now I know what I'm doing. So you can see I've gone through basically what is the first half. So I'm going to test it and go, oh, nope, see that curves in to make the circle, and I don't want to curve in to make the circle. Close it again. Nope, I'm still going around in the circle. That's not where that's supposed to go. Oh, that one's where it's supposed to go. So now I'm going to stamp that one. And then we'll turn it again. Like so. And then that one's where it's supposed to go. So there we go. And that's basically how I do it. I just kind of turn the paper and then I test and say, okay, is it going to go? Nope. Nope. And then now we've overlapped one. So, okay, we're done. So now I'm going to go the other way. Okay, that was where one's supposed to go. And this is how I do it, guys. Like, I don't make a big fuss out of it. I don't really try to plan. I just test and see. Is it going to end up where I want it to end up? Okay. That one overlaps. Okay, there we go. There's one that's missing, and that one needs a spot. Like, there's no signs to it, for me, at least. I just see how it works. But that's how my brain works. I don't always do well on the whole pre-planning aspect of doing things. I just need to try them and see how they go and figure it out. And I talked about this in last week's video. Like, when I sit down to make a video, I know where I want to end up. I don't always know how I'm going to get there. In fact, 99% of the time, I don't know how I'm going to get there. This is one of those cases. So, now I'm going to I have to do those awkward pieces where it doesn't quite fit in the circle pattern. So, I'm going to just line it up where I think it needs to be. And stamp that. So, obviously, when you do these two pieces where you have to line it up, it might not be in exactly the right spot on your wreath, but I still think it looks fine in the end. And I actually should warn you guys that I don't finish this card in this video. My battery must have died, and I must not have had one charged when I was filming it, because it cuts out right at the end, right before I start putting everything together. But I don't do anything special to put it together at the end, so I don't think you're really missing anything. It's just me gluing things together. So this is me. I thought I wanted to put a little flower in there, but I ended up deciding that it was good enough and it was done. So there we go. There's our finished wreath, and I'm still sitting here staring at it, kind of feeling like I'm impressed that it actually came out so well. I'm very impressed with it, and I very much like it. So now we're going to do heat embossing, because like I told you last week, I was in a heat embossing phase for some reason, and I really still don't feel like I'm out of it. So there will probably be more heat embossing going on for a while. So I pulled the template out because now I have to stamp the greeting. And this is, like I think I mentioned, is from Thank You Greetings from Gina K Designs. It's really big, fun greeting. And I'm going to ink it up in embossing ink. And I'm using the Gina K Designs gold embossing powder to emboss it with. Now, I did struggle a little bit with this embossing, and I'm pretty sure I left it in the video. Yeah, I did, because this part's in the video. If this part wasn't in the video, I wouldn't have left the mistakes in. And, again, part of it, new stamp. And I definitely didn't really check if my embossing went over well. Oh, did I cut out all the bad stuff? Maybe I did cut out all the bad stuff. No, I didn't. So, basically, it did not work at all the first time. I couldn't get the embossing powder to stick at all. So, we brushed that off. And because I never took the stamp off my Misty, because I was smart for once, I was able to go back and restamp it and know it got in exactly the same spot, which is sometimes why I don't take the things off my Misty right away. And then I have to get one of those little vacuum cleaner things, like the little We Are Memory Keeper vacuum cleaner things, because I spill every time I emboss stuff, and every time I spill all over the place, and it's annoying to clean up. So I need to really need to look into one of those. Do you guys like those? Let me know in the comments below if you've used one, if you like it. Okay, so now we're going to stamp again. And I think I stamped it twice this time because I didn't stamp it twice last time either. So I do it twice, and now I know where the problem area is. It's like the middle part, which tells me I'm probably also not squishing it enough. So I bring my Chucky tool in and give it another good squish. I mean, I've been using a Chucky tool the whole time, but I still think sometimes I tend to push really hard on the edges and then kind of let up my own pressure, if you will, when I get to the middle. Like, it's just a weird habit, and I need to work on that and not do that, because then I'd probably get less frustrated. But this time it comes out really well, and you can see I still have a little bit of trouble getting some of it to stick in the middle. Oh, I guess I did do it again. Huh, I thought I only did it twice. Guess I did it 3 times. See, 3rd time's the charm, guys. It took me 3 times to get the wreath right. It took me 3 times to get the embossing powder right. Sometimes, you just gotta keep trying. And that's all there is to it. So, we're gonna do it again. And I'm gonna stamp it again. I think this is when I figured out that I was not pushing hard enough on the middle of the stamp. And it was all my fault the whole time. And then I already described the embossing process to you a million times, so I don't really know what else to talk about. I guess I'll talk a little bit more about putting together the card, since you don't see that on the video. So I end up gluing the card down. I basically use this as the card front. I cut it down to cut it down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, I think. Now I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember what I did. But I cut it down a little bit, and I glue it to some, I think it's Gina Designs blue denim. I don't have it labeled, so I'm not for sure. I should really label some of that stuff. And it may have just come out of my generic blue cardstock bin, and I might not know what it was. But I glue it on some sort of navy dark blue cardstock, and it looks really pretty, and I made such a pretty fall card. There we go, look at heat embossing success. Now we do the fun part, and we heat it up. I'm also trying to break my habit, because somebody told me that you shouldn't, hair dryer your heat embossing gun, shake it back and forth. But it's such a habit, and I need to stop. Because I also realized that it's actually a lot quicker and easier if you just hold it still and, move it around and don't shake it. But I can't stop shaking it. So I have to work on that. I also end up adding some sequins at the very end, which you don't see. See, look, I took a picture because it's so pretty. And I was so proud of it. But this is basically the end. Because like I said, I am missing the other half of... Or not the other half. I'm just missing the end of putting together the card. So yeah, so that's that. I'm going to cut it down, and that's pretty much the video for you. So I'm going to leave you with some pictures. And I will hopefully see you again next week. I'm trying really, 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 really hard to get videos out to you every week. Hopefully I can stick with it. I know I will burn myself out eventually, but for right now, I'm hoping I can do it. So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you again soon. And